Good morning guys and welcome to Walking with Watches. So, bit of an admission, about 5 years ago I bought this, a Grand Seiko Snowflake. And yep, I need to admit it, I bought the wrong watch. But 5 years later and I still have it. Let me explain why. So why did I buy a Grand Seiko Snowflake in the first place? Well, there were sort of four things really. The titanium case was a new material that I hadn't had much experience with and I wanted to enjoy that. There was the movement, there's the finishing, and of course, the dial. I mean, who doesn't love a snowflake dial, right? But let's start with the finishing. Grand Seiko Zaratsu polishing is legendary, and the Snowflake shows it off beautifully. The surfaces are razor sharp with distortion-free reflections that dance as the watch moves. It's not finishing for the sake of luxury, it's finishing with character, and you can see the hours of craftsmanship that go into every facet. It's less like industrial watchmaking and more like artistry. I was very drawn to that. Of course, then there's the star of the show, the dial. The snowflake pattern is subtle, yet incredibly detailed. Inspired by freshly fallen snow in the Nagano region of Japan, sorry to my Japanese audience. It's not flashy, instead it's just sort of quietly elegant, and it reveals itself as the light hits it from different angles. Sometimes it looks crisp and cold, like a winter morning. Other times it's soft and taking on a warmer, almost silvery glow. It's a dial that never really looks the same twice, it's part of the magic. Then of course I was drawn to the movement. Inside you'll find Grand Seiko's spring drive movement, which combines the best of mechanical craftsmanship with the precision of quartz regulation. There are millions of videos on this, so I'm not going to bore you senseless. But the result is a second hand that has that beautifully smooth glide, and it's not a tick or a jitter, it's a perfect sweep and it's serene, it's a calming experience to sit and watch. Knowing that the movement was born out of decades of research and refinement made it all the more special and all the more appealing to me as a self-confessed watch nerd. Finally, the titanium case. It's light, comfortable and strong. It makes the watch surprisingly easy to wear all day. The titanium also takes on different finishing that looks and feels different to steel. It's a softer, almost glowing, sort of understated feeling about the watch. It's practical. It also adds a sense of refinement that I felt sort of defined the Snowflake. Just something a little bit different from your standard stainless steel. Now, this will hopefully capture some of what I mean. On a recent day off, I took a couple of photos as I was going about my day, and it really helps capture the many moods that the Snowflake has. The finishing catches the light in ways that completely transform the watch. It looks cold and sterile one moment and can shift to something warm and lively in the next. It's a constant evolution, the subtle changes that keep me coming back to this watch. So a question I get asked from time to time by friends of mine who are into their watches is Grand Seiko and their bracelets, because their bracelets get a lot of flack. So as you can see, I swapped mine out for a leather band. I bought it from a company called watchandstrap.co.uk, a small British company who source their leather from all sorts of places. But I bought my watch strap from there. Now, the reason why I chose to get rid of the titanium bracelet wasn't because it wasn't good quality. The bracelet's very good, but the lack of micro adjust I found quite wearisome. My wrist does increase and decrease in size quite a lot, and adding extra links was annoying, so I decided to strip it out for a leather. Plus, of course, I've got a lot of sort of steel sports style watches, whether that's divers watches or date just, stuff like that. So actually this watch fits in my collection more as a sort of dress style watch, which is why I decided to switch it out. I think some of the criticism that their bracelets get is deserved, but for me, yeah, that was the reason. I just thought it would give it a bit more of a dressy, dressed up vibe. Anyway, enough of all this walking business. I think I'm going to go for a coffee. It's nice to have a day off every now and then, isn't it? Oh, and whilst you're here, if I might ask you to drop us a cheeky subscribe, I'd be grateful. You're obviously not adverse to watching content from small creators and, don't cost you nothing. I'm not getting paid either. Christ, channel this size. I'm not getting ad revenue or sponsorships or nothing like that. So it's just for the love of it, really. So if you like your watches, you want to support a small little creator in this little passion project of watch collecting joy, I'd appreciate it. Cheers. Now, this is where I bought the wrong watch, because if there's one area where the Snowflake falls short, it is the bracelet. Now, don't get me wrong, the bracelet's very comfortable to wear, it's very handsome, it's very well finished, and it's an all-round complementary addition to the Snowflake styling. What had turned me off of this watch though was I bought it to be a daily grinding, everyday sort of watch. Grand Seiko's answer to a Rolex Datejust, or perhaps an Aquaterra, although I appreciate that there's a sort of sporty element to the Aquaterra, but the idea that it's a time and date, simple, go everywhere, do anything kind of watch. This of course factored in that I have already got sort of steel, time, date, sporty everyday watches in things like my Datejust or my Submariner, my Seamaster. There are other watches I have in my collection which were able to do the job of an everyday, go everywhere, do anything kind of watch. Moving the Grand Seiko onto the leather band then turned the watch away from being an everyday, go everywhere sports watch or sports daily watch into a more of an everyday dress watch. Now actually a dress watch is something I didn't have in my collection, but were I going out there to buy a dress watch, I'm not convinced I would have bought the Grand Seiko in the first place. And this kind of leads me on to a weird sort of conclusion really. There is something about owning a watch, you never really get to know it until you own it, and of course I'm a YouTube channel, we do reactions to new releases and things, but there is nothing quite like that lived experience with a watch. The Snowflake is to this day one of my favourite watches, and I think I kind of like it more almost because it was such a happy coincidence. There's so much handsome watchmaking on display, there's so much understated elegance about the Snowflake. I really find myself, even after all these years, constantly coming back to it. There's actually a separate video which I'm going to make at some point in the next few months about, is a Snowflake still the perfect first choice Grand Seiko for you to buy? Because I think 5 years ago there's an argument that it was, whereas I'm not so convinced that that's the case now. I think there are other Grand Seikos that you might go for first, but you know, that's another video. But there's a moral to this story, isn't there? That sometimes the best watch romances are a coincidence, they're an accident, they come out of nowhere, and that was definitely the case with this Snowflake. Anyway, just a quick video for me today because I feel that, you know, not everything needs to be shouty and opinionated, does it? Just some nice watch content, and I know we watch people like a story, so yeah, there you go. Anyway, you know what, I'm not going to bore you, let's keep this short and sweet today. Guys, this is Walking with Watches. If you enjoy your content, please do hit us a like, a subscribe, comment, all that sort of stuff. It's just watch friendly, watch chat for watch people on this channel. We talk about watches. If that's your sort of thing, do feel free to join the community. We've got a great little group going here, you know, it's really great fun making these videos, so if you would be so kind, I'd appreciate it. Anyway, in the meantime,